Hi, I'm Joe Welinske, and today I'm talking with Daniel Newman of NPR, and that's one of the advantages of being the program manager for ConveyUX. I get to speak to our speakers, and our sixth annual conference is coming up February 27, 28, and March 1 in Seattle. So let's meet Daniel. Hello, Daniel. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you, Joe?
Yeah, everything's going good. I'm talking from Blink's Seattle offices. Where are you at?
So I am here at NPR's headquarters in Washington, D.C.
All right. Well, so as you said, you're working for NPR. So maybe talk a little bit about your background, types of things that you've been involved in, and what activities you have going on now at NPR.
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot going on here at NPR. So I am the Deputy Creative Director for digital product here at NPR. So what that means is I help run the design team that's ultimately responsible for all of the products and channels that we use to digitally share our stories. So our website, our mobile apps, all of the content management frameworks, back-end APIs, authentication layers, emails, all of that fun stuff all flows through my team. I've been at NPR going on 3.5 years now, which it feels like it's flown by, but it's been a great 3.5 years, and I look forward to many more. I joined NPR in 2014, having come from being the UX manager at Wolfram Research, if you're familiar with Wolfram Alpha. So I was there focused on pure user experience. Here, our team is kind of full stack design. So we do everything from UX and prototyping and concepting through testing through final pixels. So it's a great team to be part of.
Well, so you mentioned Wolfram Alpha. So were you in the Champaign-Urbana?
I was indeed. Yeah, I spent. I was very familiar with Champaign because I went to school there, and then I left for a while. And then when I got the opportunity to join Wolfram, I came back to Champaign and spent almost 5 years there working for Wolfram.
All right. Well, that's where I spent my undergraduate time at the University of Illinois. So it's kind of interesting to see that work out. So getting back to NPR, I imagine there's just a lot of cool things going on. But you want to talk about some of the projects that you're involved in right now, or other interesting things going on there?
Absolutely. Well, so there's always a lot of things going on. I'll just mention a few. One of the things that I've had the pleasure of working on over the last couple of years is our personalized listening platform, NPR One. NPR One is both a service and a suite of applications that let a user basically customize a flow of NPR news and stories, as well as podcasts from all over the world for them. And so, you hit thumbs up, or in our case, it's mark interesting. You hit the light bulb. If a thing is relevant to you, skip it if it's not, and we learn from you over time. And I think the thing that's been really gratifying about it is to see how kind of this old school medium, radio, can really be reinvented for the modern world. And you can really take, what has traditionally been this one-way medium, this broadcast, one to all, and really make it a personalized experience. We talk about editorially responsible algorithms, being able to personalize, but not in a way that just gives you things that reinforce your worldview, but rather things that you need to know to be an informed citizen. And I'm really proud of the work I've been able to do both on the user experience and the user interface for that suite of products. Yeah.
Well, I've always been a big fan of listening to audio broadcasts, and I have to say that being able to time shift over the past 10 years has even increased my personal interest in doing that through podcasts. I was just wondering, if there's been any certain ways that things have changed at NPR based on the way that people want to be able to consume information as opposed to how things had been in the olden days.
Absolutely. It's interesting because we definitely have a foot in two worlds. On one hand, we are still the largest broadcaster in the U.S. by audience. We still reach almost 40 million people on the radio every month. And so it's still far and away our largest single platform. And people still, new audiences, people younger than me still value listening on the radio. There's something about the simplicity of just turning it on and the serendipity of whatever's there, it's hard to duplicate in a modern world where everything else is sort of tailored and picked just for you. And so on our digital platforms, we're really striving to strike the right balance of giving the user customization and control, but still providing that serendipity. And so that other foot for us is in those new platforms and really investing in the technology that is going to let us remain relevant, maybe for the person who never owns a radio, right? If you, if you bring an Amazon Echo into your house, that might replace an actual physical radio in your house, or maybe you never had one. Maybe this is the first time you've had an audio companion in your house. And so we want to be there too. And we want to be there in ways that are intelligent and responsive to our audience needs, and really looking at the medium and finding new ways to tell stories that are relevant to that platform. So that's what my team does.
Well, your particular session at the conference, your presentation is entitled 3 Keys for Successful Platform Design at NPR. So give us a little bit of a preview of how you came around to that topic and what we can expect from it.
Absolutely. Well, so, I mean, one of the things that is interesting to me, at least, is we are a very nimble team. You know, our design team here at NPR is 8 people for product and platform, which on one hand, I mean, it is a good size design team, but for a media organization with the size of audience and the breadth of storytelling that we do, it is tiny compared to many of our competitors in commercial news. And so a lot of the questions that I get asked are just kind of how we do our work. What are some of the methods? What are the things we think about? And so this talk is really just kind of a summation of things we've learned and methods we've used in the process of building our platforms. So the 3 key things I focus on are talking about audience-centric research and design. I talk about how we are in service to our partners in the newsroom. And I talk about how we collaborate with our local stations across the country. And even though that's pretty news specific in terms of how we work, I think there's a lot of relevancy to partnering with internal stakeholders and partnering with external stakeholders for anyone in any field. And so that's what I'm aiming to do, is talk about how we do our work, but how it can be broadly applicable in any sort of situation.
Well, I look forward to seeing your session and having you visit here from Washington, D.C., getting to Seattle, and that'll be coming up in just a few months, so we'll see you when you get here.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Daniel.
Bye.